Hi, this is Ellen from ZellenEnglish. Welcome to our second business English course where we'll be discussing giving a presentation. Today, I'll be pretending to give a presentation, updating everyone on the status towards company goals, and the phrases that we'll use can be applied to any presentation. So listen carefully. Let's jump in. First is starting your presentation. When you begin your presentation, it's polite to thank everyone for being there. So you can just say, "Thank you all for being here today." Then you'll want to introduce your topic and let everyone know what you'll be talking about. You can do this by just saying, "Today I'll be covering," and then say what your topic is. So, thanks everyone for being here today. Today I'll be covering our progress towards our company goals. Next, you can say something to connect your introduction to the main part of your presentation. And you can just do this by saying, "Let's jump in." You also might want to give a brief background before you really get into the main topic that you'll be discussing. So you can say, "Before we begin, let's take a look at," and then insert what you want to introduce before the presentation. Before we begin, let's take a look at the company goals that we set at the beginning of the year. So I'm giving everyone the background that they need before we really get into the update. This way, they'll be able to fully understand the update if maybe somebody's new to the company and they don't have the background. Next, you can get into explaining your key points. So after you've explained something or covered something in your presentation, it's a good idea to summarize what you just said in a very succinct way to make sure that your main point came across to the audience. So you can say, "The key takeaway here is," and then state your key takeaway. So the key takeaway here is we're on track with most of our goals, but we're lagging behind in this one area. Then after you explain your point and you want to get into the next part, you can say, "That brings me to my next point." So that brings me to my next point. If we want to make our company goals for the year, we really need to focus on this one area where we're lagging behind. Next is engaging your audience. So it's always a good idea to interact with the audience a little bit to keep people listening, keep people involved, and then make sure that everyone is focused and paying attention. And it makes your presentation more interesting. So if you want to, you can always pause somewhere in the middle to see if anyone has questions and make sure people are following you so far. And to do this, you can just say, "Does anyone have any questions?" Otherwise, you can choose to wait and take questions at the end, and we'll cover how to do that as well. So I've given the main update on where we are with our company goals. Does anyone have any questions before I talk about what we should focus on next? Another way you can engage the audience is to take a quick poll. So taking a poll can involve people raising their hands, or you can even put up a QR code where people can take a poll right on the spot on their phone. And a good way to do this is say, "Let's take a quick poll." And then you ask some type of a question. So let's take a quick poll. Who here thinks that we can realistically meet all of our goals for the year? And then at that point, people might put some hands up and at least you know they're paying attention. Next, you're ready to finish your presentation. So to conclude the presentation, you can say, "To wrap things up," and then make some type of a point. So I can say, "To wrap things up, these are the next steps we have to take if we want to stay on track towards our company goals." Then it's also a good idea to summarize your main points so everybody leaves the meeting really understanding the main takeaways. You can do this by saying, "In summary, we covered X, Y, and Z," which is the different topics you covered. So in summary, we covered where we are against our company goals. We see that we're on track for everything except for this one goal where we're lagging behind. And then we also talked about the next steps we can take to get us back on track. Then to really finish the presentation, it's always a good idea and it's polite to thank everyone again for their time. So you can say, "Thanks again for your time." And then taking questions at the end is always a good idea because you know people have a couple of questions. And the most formal way to do this is to say, I'll take any questions now. So thanks everyone for your time. I'll take any questions now. Alternatively, you can say, I'm happy to take any questions. So thanks for your time. I'm happy to take any questions. And that's it. You've given your presentation. If you memorize these sentences and transitions, you'll be sounding like a professional native speaker in no time. Make sure to join us next time for Business English Writing Professional Emails.